So this is a little health pickup. The apple. Component hit, cast a third person character. If the health is more than 1, then it won't pick up. But if it's less than 1, then it'll add health, play a little sound, and then destroy. So it'll get rid of the apple in the world. So here I've got my cutscenes. I've got one that triggers when you overlap with collide with a box. So here it's just checking that it's the player character. I've got a boolean for has it played, because we don't want it to play every time we collide with the box. We just want it to play once. So if it hasn't played, it'll play it and then set it so it has played. So every time you walk into that box from now on, it won't play again. My other cutscene is on death. So I've got an event tick cast into the third person character, but instead of pulling off when it does cast, I've pulled off when the cast fails, i.e. the player character has been destroyed. Then it'll just same sort of thing. If it hasn't played already, it'll play. So then after the campfire is built, we then get another task, which is to light the fire. So again, casting to the third person character, we're asking, is the fire built? If it is, if it's not, then we don't want any. We don't want any message, because we're dealing with the other task first. If it is built, then we want to know if it's lit. If it is on fire, if it has been lit, then the message is to collect more sticks to keep the fire going. If it hasn't been lit, then we're asking if we've got the right amount of resources. If we have, then it'll be asking us to press F to start the fire. If we haven't, it'll be asking us to go and collect said resources. So for the water, I've added a physics volume and a post-process volume, so it feels and looks like you're in water. But also to add on to that, I've added a sort of breathing system, so you've got a limited amount of air when you're in the water. It's on the event tick, so it's basically saying, is he out of water? If he is out of water, then your air regenerates to full, because obviously you can breathe. If you're under the water, then and your air is, you've got air, so it's more than 0, then it'll start going down. However, if you're under the water and you don't have any air at all and it's all gone, so when you run out of oxygen, then you'll start losing health slowly until the character dies. So this is my HUD. I've obviously got health and air bars, which are simple, but for the tasks, I've got one for building the fire and one for lighting the fire. So for building the fire, I obviously cast the third person character, and I'm asking if the character's got 5 or more sticks. If he has, and the fire is already built, then we won't get any message. But if we have got 5 or more sticks and the fire is not already built, then it will be asking you to press F to build the fire. If we don't have 5 or more sticks, then it will be telling us our task will be to go around and collect 5 sticks to then build the campfire. And then obviously once it's built, once we've got 5 sticks, it'll ask us to build, and once it's built, we'll get nothing. Okay, so here's how I've set it up to pick up the items in the game. I've got 3 items you can pick up: stick, stone and flint. So I've set it so that when E is pressed, I will get the world location of an arrow that I've put on the third person character. I will then send a line trace by 500 units out of the arrow. And here I'm saying, on the condition that I hit my stick, then I'll add a stick, play a little pickup sound, just so the player knows he's picked something up, and then destroy the stick. If it's not the stick, then ask if it's a stone, Same thing, add 1 to the amount of stone. I've got 3 variables, 1 for stick, stone and flint, which say the amount that you have. So if you pick up stone, add it to the amount of stone variable, play the sound and destroy. And last but not least, again with flint, if it's not the stone or the stick, ask if it's a flint, and same thing. And if it's not the flint that you connect with, then just don't do anything, because then there's nothing to pick up. So I've also got a use feature, so sort of picking up and using them can be different. This time I've chosen F to use. Same thing with the line traced, but now I'm asking about my campfire. So here I've got a boolean, which is the fire built, because you've got to build the fire before you can light it, which then takes you into another branch which says if you've got 5 or more sticks, then you can make the fire, which is a custom event in the campfire, and then it will take 5 sticks off you and set it so the fire is then built. So then once I'm using, if I then press F on the fire again, the fire will be built, so it will come down here, ask is the fire lit. If it's not, it will come over here, ask how much flint, if you've got a right amount of flint, and it'll ask how much stone, you need 1 of each. If you don't have either one of these, obviously it will go false and do nothing. So if you've got 1 of each of them, then it will trigger the custom event light campfire, then it will minus the 1 that you just used and set the fire to lit. Then it's asking is the fire out, because I've got another boolean in the campfire, which is asking if it's out or not. If it's not out, then the player will be able to add fuel, which is just 1 stick, and adding fuel again is a custom event which we'll look at in the campfire. So this is the campfire. On the beginning of the play I've set it so the little assets that make up the campfire are all hidden, and then the custom event, as we saw previous, that you need 5 sticks for, it will play a little sound like chucking the sticks down, and then it'll set the visibility to so you can see them, so it's like you've made the fire. Then lighting the fire, again the custom event where you need the stone and flint. I've set it so once it's triggered, it adds 60 units to the flames in the particle system that's in the campfire. So it adds the max amount to the flames, max amount to the smoke, and max amount to the embers, and sets all them as the parameters for the particle system, and then it just creates a little sound saying that you've lit it, and then it says the fire's on. When the fire is lit, I've got an event tick saying if it's on, then it obviously every tick it takes away a very small amount of flames, so over time the fire slowly goes out, and then obviously when it goes out, it triggers this asking if there's no flames, and it triggers this to go false saying the fire's out, which is again another custom event. The fire out custom event basically just sets the flames and embers to 0. I wanted to keep the smoke there, so it was like it had been lit and it's just gone out, and then setting the fire that telling that the fire's out. This is an add fuel custom event, which is in, again we saw earlier, which you need a stick and use it on the fire, on the lit fire, not when it's gone out. It wouldn't work. So again, asking if the fire's out. If it's not out, then you get, for each stick will add 10 units, but it'll only go up to 60, which is the max. It won't go further, which will set the parameter for the flames in the particle system, for the particle system in the campfire. I've just got here that on component hit to the character, it will take damage over time, which is again another custom event in third person character. So that is over here. Damage over time, I've just got it so again custom event. It'll take a little bit of health off the player, and then it'll have a tiny delay, more, and so on and so forth. And I've got it that if that happens, it doesn't take too much health off, but if that happens, to take the health lower than 0, then it will kill the player and do the little grunting sound. This is the add health custom event. I've got some little apples that you can pick up. So again, add health custom event, it'll just add 1 to your health. Sorry, add 0.1 to your health unless your health is full, then in which case it won't add anymore.